Ethan Cole was not used to visitors. His home stood near the edge of the Mars colony, where the sandstorms came first and the news came last. He liked it that way. Life out here was quiet, simple. The hum of the oxygen filters was his constant companion. He spent most nights working on small machines, repairing mining drones for extra credits, or staring out the window at the red horizon that stretched endlessly under the stars. It was late when he heard the knock. A sharp, urgent sound. He froze, unsure if he had imagined it. Few people came this far without calling first. The knock came again, harder this time. Ethan stood up, heart beating faster than he wanted to admit. He walked to the door and pressed the small screen that revealed the visitor outside. Lyra. She was his neighbor, though neighbor meant she lived a full kilometer away in the next habitat dome. She was not human. Lyra was from a species called the Alari, tall and graceful with luminous blue eyes that seemed to glow softly even in darkness. Her silver hair was tied back, but loose strands had escaped, falling across her face. She looked afraid. Ethan didn't hesitate. He opened the door. "Lyra?" he asked. "What's wrong?" "Let me in," she said quickly. Her voice was calm but tense, as though she was holding back panic. Ethan stepped aside and she moved past him into the small living room. She glanced out the window before speaking, as if making sure no one had followed her. "I didn't know where else to go," she said. Ethan frowned. He had spoken to her a few times before. Short conversations about colony water rations, broken air vents, the usual neighbor talk. But she had never looked this shaken. "Sit down," he said gently. "Tell me what happened." She shook her head. "I can't explain everything now. But someone is looking for me. Someone dangerous." Ethan blinked. "Here, on Mars?" "Yes," she said. Her glowing eyes locked on his. "And they are close." Ethan's mind raced. Mars was supposed to be safe. The colony was heavily monitored. Who could be after her? "What do they want?" he asked. Lyra hesitated. "Something my husband left behind." Ethan knew about her husband, or rather he knew that he had died. The whole colony had heard the news months ago. The Alari man had been a researcher for the Interstellar Council, working on something highly classified. People had whispered about it for weeks. "You think his death wasn't an accident?" Ethan asked. Lyra's jaw tightened. "I know it wasn't." The words hung in the air. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine despite the warm air recyclers humming softly around them. "What do you want me to do?" he asked. "I need a place to stay for tonight," she said, "and I need your help tomorrow." "You are an engineer, yes?" Ethan nodded slowly. "I need someone I can trust to work with a very old and very powerful device," she continued. "Someone who will not sell me out to the council or the people who are hunting me." Ethan let out a breath, rubbing the back of his neck. This was more than he had expected when he opened the door. He could say no, tell her to go to the authorities. But one look at her face told him she had already tried that path and it had failed. Before he could answer, a low rumble shook the ground. Both of them looked toward the window. In the distance, past the ridge of red rocks, Ethan saw a flash of light, then another. "Like silent lightning. Patrol drones?" he whispered. "No," Lyra said, her voice tense. "Hunters." Ethan didn't know what she meant, but he didn't need more explanation. Whoever was out there, they were coming closer. He quickly moved to lock the outer door and activate the security shields on the windows. The blue glow of the shield hummed softly as it sealed them inside. "You can stay," he said finally. Relief softened her expression, but only slightly. She remained alert, standing near the window as though expecting it to shatter at any second. Ethan sat down across from her. "Tomorrow," he said carefully, "you tell me everything. No more secrets," Lyra nodded. "Tomorrow." For a long time, neither of them spoke. Outside, the colony was quiet again, but Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed forever. He had let danger into his home. And maybe, just maybe, he had let something else in too. Something that could pull him into a story far bigger than himself. Ethan barely slept that night. The security shield buzzed softly, a constant reminder that someone might be outside watching. Lyra sat silently near the window for hours, her glowing eyes fixed on the horizon. When dawn came, the sky outside turned a pale orange, and Ethan finally rose from his chair. He found Lyra still awake. "You didn't sleep," he said quietly. "I couldn't," she replied. "Not until I know we are safe." Ethan poured himself a cup of reheated coffee and sat across from her. You said you would explain everything today, he reminded her. Lyra nodded. She looked tired, but her voice was calm. My husband Cale was a guardian, she began. Our duty was to protect a very old piece of technology, built by a civilization far older than mine or yours. We call it the Luminar Core. It is small, no bigger than your hand, but powerful enough to power a city for centuries. It can also do more. Things that even the Council does not fully understand. Ethan listened carefully. What happened to him? Lyra's expression darkened. Cale discovered someone had leaked its location. He was preparing to move it when they came for him. They made it look like an accident, but I know better. The core was gone when I found him. Ethan frowned. But you said last night someone is still looking for you. If they took the core, why would they need you? Because they cannot use it without a key, she said. And I have the key. Ethan felt his heart race. And you think I can help you activate it? Yes, she said simply. Cale always said humans were clever with machines. Your skills may be enough to unlock it safely before they do. Ethan rubbed his forehead. Do you even know who they are? Lyra's gaze hardened. Mercenaries, hired by someone powerful, maybe even within the Council itself. Whoever they work for wants the core's power for themselves. Ethan stood and began pacing the room. You're telling me this thing can power cities. If they want it that badly, they might come here with a whole squad to get it back. You should take this to the authorities. I tried, Lyra said sharply. The colony governor told me to stay quiet. Said it was too dangerous to interfere with interstellar politics. Do you understand? They left me alone with Cale's death. They will not help. Ethan stopped pacing. She was right. The governor cared more about keeping peace with the Council than risking trouble. What exactly do you want me to do? He asked. Lyra hesitated. I need to find the core before they do. I know it is still somewhere on this planet. If we recover it first, we can keep it safe. I can call for Alari protection, but I need time. And I need someone who can help me open it. Make sure it has not been damaged. Ethan stared at her for a moment. He was just an engineer. He fixed mining drones, not galactic relics. But there was something about the way she looked at him, not just desperate but trusting, that made it impossible for him to refuse. Before he could answer, a deep boom echoed through the thin Martian air. The floor trembled under his feet. What was that? He asked, rushing to the window. Lyra was already there. Trouble, she said grimly. They both saw smoke rising from the edge of the colony. A small dome had collapsed, its outer wall blasted open. Alarms began to wail across the settlement. They're here, Lyra whispered. Ethan grabbed his toolkit instinctively. Then we don't have much time. Lyra turned to him, her expression suddenly determined. Ethan Cole, she said, help me and I promise you this. If we succeed, I will share what the core holds with your people. It could lift humanity into a new age. Your children could see a future beyond Mars, beyond Earth. It was an offer too big to ignore. Ethan felt fear rising in his chest, but also something else, a strange spark of hope. All right, he said finally. I'm in. But we need a plan. Lyra gave a small nod, almost a smile. I have one. There is an abandoned communication station 5 kilometers east. Cale hid things there. Tools, maps, maybe even clues to the core's location. If we can reach it before they do, we have a chance. Ethan grabbed his jacket and checked his oxygen mask. Then we move now. Together they stepped outside into the dusty Martian morning. The colony behind them was in chaos, drones buzzing overhead, colonists shouting, emergency lights flashing red. Ethan felt the weight of what he had just agreed to. He was no longer just a quiet engineer living at the edge of the world. He was part of something much bigger now. The wind howled across the Martian plain as Ethan and Lyra ran, their boots sinking into the soft red dust. The colony was shrinking behind them, alarms still blaring. Ethan kept glancing over his shoulder, half expecting to see armored figures chasing them. Are you sure about this place? Ethan asked, panting through his oxygen mask. Yes, Lyra said, her voice steady even as she ran. Kyle trusted this station more than any safe house. It was his last hiding place. The journey was not easy. The path to the abandoned communication station was rocky and uneven. The sun was already rising higher, painting everything in a harsh orange glow. Ethan's legs burned with every step, but he didn't stop. After nearly an hour, they reached the top of a ridge. Down below, half buried in dust, stood the old comm station. Its metal walls were rusted and dented, its antenna broken, pointing uselessly toward the sky. "This is it," Lyra said. They descended carefully, watching for movement. The station looked dead, but Ethan felt a chill as they approached. Places like this had a way of attracting scavengers. Lyra pressed her palm against a hidden panel near the door. The metal creaked and slid open, revealing a dark hallway. Ethan followed her inside. The air was stale but breathable. The walls were covered in faded warning signs. "This place gives me the creeps," Ethan muttered. "It should," Lyra said. "It was abandoned after a reactor failure years ago. Kyle rebuilt only a part of it. Come." She led him to a small control room. Inside were crates stacked neatly against the walls, a dusty table, and a half-functioning console that flickered when Lyra switched it on. Ethan dropped his toolkit and began examining the crates. Inside were data chips, tools, and a small device wrapped carefully in cloth. "What's this?" he asked. Lyra's face softened as she picked it up. "Kyle's key," she said quietly. "With this, the Luminar core can be activated." Ethan whistled softly. "You just carry this around?" "If the mercenaries knew, they would kill me to take it," Lyra said bluntly. Ethan set the key down carefully. "All right. You said last night you needed me. Tell me exactly what you want me to do." Lyra turned to face him fully. For a moment, the room was silent except for the faint hum of the console. "I want you to help me unlock the core," she said. "But more than that, I want you to help me protect it. You have seen what kind of people are after it. If they succeed, they will use its power for war. Your people, my people, every colony will suffer." Ethan swallowed hard. "You're asking me to risk my life?" "Yes," she said simply. "But I offer something in return. If we survive, if we keep the core safe, I will share its technology with humanity. No council politics, no secrecy. Your engineers, your scientists, they will be allowed to study it. It could change everything for your species." Ethan stared at her. His entire life, humanity had been struggling to prove themselves among the older, stronger alien civilizations. The idea that this one device could push them forward by centuries was hard to imagine. "Why me?" he asked finally. Lyra stepped closer, her silver hair catching the light. "Because you are not greedy. I have seen the way you live, Ethan Cole. Quiet, simple. You fix things because they are broken, not because you want to get rich. Kale believed humans like you could be trusted with the core's future." Ethan took a deep breath. This was no longer just about one artifact. This was about the future of humanity. "All right," he said. "I'll help you. But we need to stay alive first." As if on cue, a faint sound echoed through the hallway outside. Metallic footsteps. Ethan froze. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "They found us." Ethan grabbed the key and shoved it into his jacket pocket. Lyra quickly powered down the console. "Back exit," she whispered. They sprinted down another corridor, turning sharply until they reached a maintenance hatch. Lyra kicked it open and climbed out first. Ethan followed, pulling the hatch shut behind him. They emerged on the far side of the ridge just as a small ship descended near the station, dust blowing everywhere. Dark figures jumped out, mercenaries in black armor scanning the area. "They're too close," Ethan said, breathing hard. Lyra grabbed his arm and pointed east. "There is an old supply tunnel under the rocks. If we reach it, we can lose them." They ran again, dust rising behind them like smoke. Laser sights danced across the ground. The mercenaries had spotted them. Ethan's heart pounded as a shot scorched the dirt near his feet. He dove behind a rock. Lyra pulled out a small energy pistol and fired back, her movements quick and precise. "Go!" she shouted. Ethan ran, adrenaline pushing him forward. He reached the entrance to the tunnel and helped Lyra inside. They crawled through the narrow space until they were deep underground. The sounds of pursuit grew faint, then disappeared. Ethan finally stopped, panting hard. "We can't keep running like this," he said. Lyra nodded. "Next time we fight." Ethan felt a strange resolve settle over him. He wasn't just running anymore. He was ready to stand his ground. The abandoned communications station loomed ahead, its rusty metal walls barely holding together under the Martian sun. Ethan and Lyra approached cautiously, each step raising clouds of red dust. The quiet that had followed their escape through the tunnels made the station seem almost peaceful. But both knew danger was near. "They're coming back," Lyra whispered, her eyes scanning the horizon. "We need a plan." Ethan nodded, his mind racing. He had tools, old spare parts, and the half-working consoles inside. He realized he could use what Cale had left behind to set traps. He also remembered the structural weaknesses of the building, the thin metal walls, the emergency panels, and the old holographic projectors. "We can make them think we're not here," Ethan said. "We can use decoys." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly. "Show me." Inside the station, Ethan set to work. He connected the old holographic projector to a makeshift power source and programmed it to cast images of them moving in multiple rooms. The red dust outside would scatter the projections just enough to make them look real. "Ready?" he asked, wiping sweat from his brow. Lyra nodded. "As ready as we can be." From outside, the hum of the approaching ship grew louder. Ethan and Lyra hid in the control room, waiting. Soon black-armored mercenaries stormed in, their weapons scanning every corner. "Check the station," one shouted, his voice harsh in the recycled air. The holograms flickered to life. Shadows moved across walls and floors, making it appear as if Ethan and Lyra were running from room to room. The mercenaries paused, confused by the images. Some fired, hitting walls and empty spaces. "This way," Lyra hissed, leading Ethan toward the back of the station where the crates containing the core were stored. They moved silently, using the shadows and the sound of the mercenaries' shots to mask their movements. Ethan carefully picked up the core's key, making sure it was secure in his jacket pocket. Suddenly, a mercenary turned the corner. Lyra fired her energy pistol. A flash of blue light hit him and he collapsed, stunned but alive. Ethan swallowed hard. The battle had begun in earnest. Using the station's layout to their advantage, they set traps with old tools and equipment. Loose panels fell to block doors, wires triggered small sparks to distract their pursuers, and even the holographic projector created illusions that split the mercenaries' attention. Ethan was amazed at Lyra's skill. She moved with grace and precision, coordinating every move as if she had rehearsed it 1,000 times. He realized she had trained for situations like this her entire life. One mercenary reached the control room where they hid. Ethan quickly slammed a panel over the doorway, giving them a few seconds to catch their breath. "We can't keep hiding forever," Ethan said, panting. "We need to finish this now," Lyra nodded. "Then we fight smart, not hard." They lured the remaining mercenaries into the storage room. Ethan used the projector to create multiple images of them hiding in different corners, while Lyra used her energy pistol to disable the enemy's weapons with precise shots. Sparks flew and alarms triggered in the old station, adding to the chaos. One by one, the mercenaries were caught in their traps or temporarily stunned. Ethan set a final decoy, a box rigged to emit a loud explosion of light and sound. When the last mercenary entered, it went off, causing him to stumble and retreat. The station fell silent. Dust swirled around them, and Ethan could feel his heart pounding. "Is it over?" he asked, looking at Lyra. "For now," she said, checking the core's key. "But we can't stay here. They'll send more if we linger too long." Ethan wiped his forehead. "We need to repair it, don't we?" "Yes," Lyra replied. "If we want the core to be safe, we have to understand it." "And fast," Ethan nodded. He had always loved fixing things, but this was unlike anything he had ever handled. The core was small, simple-looking, but he could feel the power pulsing faintly from it. It was alive in a way he didn't fully understand. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. "We did well today. Cale would have been proud." Ethan smiled faintly, but the weight of responsibility pressed down on him. This device could change everything, for humanity, for the galaxy, and for them. He knew the danger wasn't over, but at that moment he felt a strange sense of accomplishment. "Tomorrow," he said, "we finish the work. We unlock it." Lyra nodded, eyes glowing softly in the dim light of the control room. "And then we decide what the future looks like." Outside, the Martian wind blew, carrying the scent of red dust and danger. Inside the station, two unlikely allies prepared for the challenge that lay ahead, knowing the coming hours would decide not just their fate, but the fate of many worlds. Ethan glanced at Lyra and felt a new determination. He wasn't just an engineer anymore. He was a protector, and together, they were ready to face whatever came next. The Martian night was quiet, but inside the abandoned communications station, Ethan and Lyra worked feverishly. The core sat on the table, small and unassuming, yet Ethan could feel its quiet power humming through the room. He had never seen technology like this, alive, almost breathing with energy, as if it had a mind of its own. Lyra watched him closely, her glowing eyes reflecting the faint light from the core. "Are you ready?" she asked. Ethan nodded, taking a deep breath. "I think so. But remember, if we make a mistake, it could destroy more than just this station." Lyra placed her hand over the core's key, linking it to the device. Energy pulsed softly, spreading like ripples across water. Lights on the core blinked and a holographic display emerged above it. Lines of data, star maps, and strange symbols filled the air. Ethan's eyes widened. It's beautiful. And massive. This could change everything." Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, and it must be protected. But now the question is, what do we do with it?" Ethan studied the holograms, realizing the core contained centuries of knowledge. Technology far beyond human capabilities, star maps to unknown worlds, energy designs that could power entire colonies. He felt the weight of responsibility settle over him. We could take this to the council," Ethan said slowly. "They could help us guide humanity. But what if they misuse it?" Lyra shook her head. "That is why Kale trusted someone like you. Not because of rank or power, but because of your judgment. We decide together." They spent hours analyzing the core, making sure it was stable. Ethan carefully calibrated the energy interface while Lyra cross-checked her notes on Kale's research. With each adjustment, the core hummed stronger, as if responding to their teamwork. Finally, the core's energy reached a steady glow, casting the control room in a soft golden light. A map of the galaxy appeared, pinpointing several habitable planets, energy sources, and potential new colonies. Ethan felt a rush of hope and fear. This can help humanity advance by decades, maybe centuries," Ethan whispered. "But it's dangerous in the wrong hands," Lyra nodded. "And that is why we must choose wisely." The first decision came when they heard movement outside. Mercenaries were approaching, having tracked them to the station. Ethan and Lyra exchanged a glance. There was no turning back. Together, they used the core's energy to activate defensive fields around the station. Lights flashed, creating barriers and temporary shields. When the mercenaries tried to break in, they were repelled by the unexpected force. Ethan's ingenuity and Lyra's precise control made them a perfect team. After a tense standoff, the mercenaries retreated, unable to breach the station. Ethan exhaled, relief flooding him. "That was too close," he said. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "It is over for now, but we cannot stay. We must decide what to do next." Ethan studied the core again. "We could hide it," he said slowly. "Keep it secret. Protect it from anyone who might misuse it, but then humanity might never benefit," Lyra nodded. "Or we could share it. Carefully, wisely. Only with those who want to build, not destroy. It is your choice too, Ethan. Kale believed in humans. I believe in you." Ethan felt the weight of the decision, then slowly smiled. "We share it. But on our terms. We teach, we guide, we protect." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "Then humanity has a chance to rise, not just survive." The next morning, they left the station, core secured, and traveled to the colony. Ethan contacted trusted scientists, presenting the core as a gift from an ancient civilization meant to help humanity. Together, they carefully decoded its energy designs and star maps, planning new colonies, renewable energy systems, and advanced research projects. Months passed, and the colony began to transform. New energy systems powered entire domes effortlessly. Humanity learned faster than ever, thanks to the core. Ethan's quiet life changed, but he felt a deep satisfaction. He had made a difference. Lyra stayed by his side, working alongside humans and teaching them Elari techniques. The bond between them grew stronger, a partnership of trust and shared vision. Humanity and the Elari learned from each other, preparing for a future among the stars. One evening, as the sun set over the red horizon of Mars, Ethan and Lyra stood on the ridge near their home. The core, safely secured in a protected chamber, pulsed faintly in the distance. "We did well," Ethan said quietly. "Yes?" Lyra agreed, her glowing eyes soft. "But this is only the beginning," Ethan smiled. He looked at the stars, imagining the worlds humanity could reach, the knowledge they would gain, and the future they could build together. For the first time, he felt truly hopeful. Humanity was not just surviving on Mars anymore. They were rising, stronger and wiser, ready to face the galaxy. And he, an ordinary engineer, had helped make it possible. Lyra touched his arm gently. "Kyle would be proud," Ethan nodded. "And so would humanity." The wind blew softly, carrying the red dust across the plains. Above them, the stars shone brighter than ever. And for the first time, Ethan knew that the choice they had made, the choice to share, to protect, and to rise, would echo across worlds for generations to come.